Thanks for joining me. In this video, we're going to talk about traveling with your guitar in the summer months, whether you're traveling by car or truck, or whether you're going by plane, or whether you're on a bus, or whether you're walking. Stay tuned for that because there's some important information for you. Let's spin the intro and I'll be right back. All right, we are back, and let's talk first about the car. Never ever leave a guitar in a car, in an SUV, or in a truck in the summer months. If I want to take anything off of this guitar, I want to replace the top, I want to replace the back, or whatever, I'm going to do it by heat. And I'll take a spatula, heat it, and I'll run it around here, lift the binding off, or lift the back off of the top. The same thing will happen in your car if it overheats. This is put together with glue. Glue heats up, it melts. When it melts, it separates. And when it separates, the bridge sitting on here will lift. The fingerboard could get damaged. The whole thing could be a disaster if it's left in a vehicle. So never leave it in a vehicle. Make sure that when you're traveling, be it with a car or a truck, and especially a plane, that you buy a hard shell case for it. The soft shell cases are good for just keeping it in a case around the house. But seriously, I always put my guitars into a hard shell case, even in the summertime in the house. So I still humidify it because they're more of a sealed unit. So I keep the humidity going in the guitar even during the summer. So make sure that if you're traveling, you're using a hard shell case for sure. Understand that when a guitar moves from a warm temperature to a cold temperature, or from a cold temperature to a warm temperature, if the change of temperature is too sudden, then what can happen is the guitar can get fracture cracks in the lacquer on the finish. And you've probably seen some guitars that have little wee hairline cracks on them. That's usually caused by a temperature change. So let your guitar acclimatize, get used to where it's going when you get there. In other words, wind the windows down in the vehicle and just let the air come in and circulate. It doesn't have to get hot, and then get it back out of the car into a house or a building or wherever you're performing quickly, so that it stays cool. Now, the same thing happens when you're coming out. If you're coming out during the winter and you've got a remote start your car. Make sure you've left the heater on so that the car is warm. So when you walk from the building to the car, it's cold, but still by the time you get to the car and get it in there, there hasn't been enough cold to damage or to lower the temperature on the guitar enough to damage it when it gets into the car that's already warm, or the SUV. So it works the other way as well. Now, just make sure that you watch the temperature changes on your guitar and keep it well humidified. Now let's talk about traveling by plane, because this is a biggie. When you're traveling by plane, make sure your guitar fits in a hard shell case. You want it snug. You don't want it moving around in the case itself, because if they move it quickly and the guitar can move in the case, you can find yourself having damage done to the guitar. So assuming it fits snug, if it doesn't, wrap towel around here until it does fit nice and snug. You may even put a little towel on the top of that just as a little extra protection. Now, what I will do is, this is some PVC pipe. I use this for sanding in here, but it's a 1.5 inch pipe available in any dealer like a Home Hardware or a Home Depot or Lowe's or any of those people. Just go buy a couple of offcuts and saw them off, and make this thing the height from the bottom of your case, just extending above the fingerboard. Oh, yay much until it comes close to or touches the top, so that the top comes down hard, the bottom is on here, and the neck is in between. So if anything happens on the plane or something pushes up against the side of that, it can't compress. The case won't let it, this won't let it do it. So yeah, it'll be tight, but it won't damage the neck of your guitar. And the same thing, by the way, applies to your golf clubs. When you're traveling, put your driver in here so the head is out there. Wrap the head in a nice towel, and that's a little bonus for you today, and it'll arrive and you'll be able to use it. So put this up by the peg head and on either side here. Obviously you can't get it in here or here, but load this up if you need to with a towel. But the hard shell case is absolutely a good device to have for traveling by plane. Now, when you get to the airport, don't check it in at the counter. Just don't even acknowledge it. You're going to carry it on. And you know that they're going to stop you when you get to the plane. That's a given. So when you get to the plane and they stop you with your case, ask them if they would put it in with the suit bags that are just as you enter the plane and turn. Right there, they have hanging closets for suits, and if they'll put that in there, you've got suits maybe up against either side of it, cushioning it so it keeps it secure and it keeps it soft and it keeps it protected. So that works. The other thing is, if they don't have that, because they've decided to put a seat in there, anything for a few extra bucks, right? So if they don't have that, then ask them to take this down by hand. They'll even suggest that. So it'll stop with the rest of the luggage. Let them do that by hand. At least you got more of a chance of it arriving in good shape, given the fact that it's not traveling by conveyor through the airport, thrown on a truck, driven out to the plane, handed to somebody and thrown up into the plane. So it really has a better chance of surviving if you do that. So I might consider wrapping bubble wrap around this part, the lower bout and the upper bout, on the guitar case, and tape it to the case so that it can't slide off. And that way you get a little extra protection of the air bubble that is in that package. So try doing that. Now, going by bus, what I would do is I would arrive at the bus 10-15 minutes before I'm going to take off. I would talk to the driver, find out if it's a full load on the bus. If it's not, ask him if you could please put the guitar beside you on an empty seat. The answer is probably yes. He would allow you to do that. And that's a real good idea. Some of the buses have seat belts, and you can actually seat belt your guitar into the seat. If not, it might sit on the floor leaning up against the seat. Now, let's assume they don't have that, or they say, no, you can't do that. Then what you have to do is, again, I would wrap it in bubble wrap, and I would put it down there, and I would go and help the driver load the luggage. I would be his assistant, and I would hand him luggage and put it in there, and I would try to get this in between some roll-on luggage with soft sides on it, so not the hard ones, but the soft side, and see if I could wedge this in between them so that they're not stacked on top of your guitar, but your guitar is sitting like this, sliding it in between these, and then it might get a little more protection that way. So when he's going around curves and whatnot, this thing isn't going to move all that much, and it would be a much better idea to do something like that. Just going to walk over to a neighbor's place, or you're at a camp, or you're going somewhere else and you want to carry your guitar. The problem with it in your right hand, if the lid opens up, the guitar falls out onto the street or onto the sidewalk, and it's going to be damaged. If it's in your left hand, and that same thing happened, the case lid would open and fall against your leg, but the guitar won't fall out of the case. So there will be no damage. So make sure that you carry the guitar wherever you go. Even if you're just out of habit, carry it in your left hand, not your right hand. Now, one little bonus point. What I really would recommend you do is you buy some insurance and get your guitar insured. These things are expensive, And if they get damaged, at least you have some money from the insurance company to repair the damage that is done to the guitar. And it can be a rider on your home insurance or your apartment insurance policy, whatever it is. I doubt it would be very much money. I don't know for sure, because I guess every area has different companies and different rates and whatnot. But you need to check that out just to be sure. So that's it for me. I hope you found some value in that. I don't have all the answers here. You probably have some answers that would help me in a subsequent video. So go down below and make a comment and tell me, A, have you had any issues when you've traveled with a guitar, what they were, and would you give me your recommendations, and I'll do a subsequent video as an update based on your comments. So if you'll comment, we can do another video and do an update and get some better ideas than what I've given you today. But hopefully this will help you when you travel. Stay tuned for more. See you in the next video. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.